Morning light spilled through the sheer curtains, casting a golden hue over the bed where Liam and Max lay tangled together. The air was warm with the scent of sleep, skin, and something unspoken. Liam stirred first, pressing his face against Max's shoulder, inhaling the familiar scent of his boyfriend's cologne, faded but still present from the night before. Max, still half asleep, instinctively tightened his arm around Liam's waist, pulling him closer. "Morning," Liam murmured, voice thick with sleep. Max smirked without opening his eyes. "Morning, gorgeous." His voice was rough, lazy. "What time is it?" Liam glanced at the bedside clock. "Almost 9. "Too early," Max groaned, burying his face in the pillow. Liam chuckled, slipping out of Max's grip and stretching as he sat up. "I'll make coffee. Black. Strong." Max's voice was muffled against the pillow. "Like my men." Liam rolled his eyes. "You're impossible." Padding to the kitchen, Liam moved through their apartment with practiced ease. The wooden floors were cool beneath his bare feet, the space around him familiar, lived in. A half-folded blanket on the couch, mismatched coffee mugs from yesterday still in the sink, one of Max's sweaters draped over a chair. Evidence of a shared life, of mornings just like this. The coffee machine hummed to life as Liam leaned against the counter, scrolling through his phone. A few unread messages, nothing urgent. He liked these quiet mornings, the ones where they had nowhere to be, where time slowed down just enough to let them breathe. A pair of arms wrapped around his waist from behind, a warm mouth pressing against the nape of his neck. Smells good." Liam leaned into Max's touch, letting his boyfriend's body mold against his own. "The coffee or me?" Max chuckled, his breath warm against Liam's skin. "Both." They stood like that for a moment, Max's arms draped over Liam's shoulders, Liam's hands resting over Max's. It was easy, comfortable, until Max pulled away first. "Gotta check something real quick," he said, reaching for his phone on the counter. Liam turned, watching as Max unlocked the screen, his expression shifting almost imperceptibly. It was small, just a flicker of hesitation, a tightness around his mouth. Then, just as quickly, it was gone. Liam didn't say anything, but something settled uneasily in his chest. Max's fingers flew across the screen before he clicked it off and set the phone down. "All right, coffee," he said, back to his usual self. "What's the plan for today?" Liam hesitated before answering, forcing himself to shake off the feeling. "Brunch? That place you like." Max nodded, taking a sip of coffee. "Sounds good." They moved through their routine as always, couch cuddles, teasing banter, planning the day ahead. But that flicker of hesitation, that split second of something unreadable on Max's face, lingered in the back of Liam's mind. Maybe it was nothing, but maybe it wasn't. The steam curled up from Liam's coffee cup. The rich aromas settled between them as they sat across from each other at their favorite brunch spot. The sun was warm against Liam's skin, the cafe bustling with the comforting hum of conversation, clinking plates, and the occasional burst of laughter from a nearby table. It should have been a perfect morning, but something fell off. Max was smiling, charming as ever, fingers drumming lazily against his coffee mug. His dark hair was still slightly tousled from sleep, and he looked effortlessly good, like he always did. But Liam had spent enough time loving this man to notice the difference. The way Max's eyes flicked down to his phone too often, the way his laughter seemed just a little forced. And then there was a text. It had been barely an hour since Liam saw it. Just a glimpse of an unknown number flashing across Max's lock screen. "Had an amazing time last night, Redheart." Liam hadn't reacted at first, telling himself there was a logical explanation. But the words were burned into his brain now, looping like a cruel whisper. Had an amazing time last night. Max hadn't gone out last night. Had he? Liam tried to push the thought away, but it sat like a weight in his chest, poisoning the warmth of the morning. "You're quiet," Max said, cutting into his pancakes with practiced ease. "Something wrong?" Liam forced a smile. "Just tired." Max nodded, seemingly satisfied with the answer, but Liam saw the way he checked his phone under the table. Quick, discreet, like he was hiding something. That was the moment Liam knew. Not with certainty, not with proof, but in his gut. and he had learned long ago that his instincts were rarely wrong. He set his fork down, his appetite gone. Who texted you earlier? Max barely hesitated, but it was enough. Just a coworker. Liam held his gaze, searching for something: guilt, panic, a flicker of regret. But Max was composed, unreadable, the same way he always was when he didn't want to talk about something. Liam nodded slowly, pretending to accept the answer. Right. The rest of brunch was a performance. Liam forced small talk, laughed in the right places, let Max hold his hand across the table like nothing had changed. But inside, his mind was spinning. By the time they got home, Liam had made up his mind. The moment Max stepped into the shower, Liam reached for his phone. It was risky, reckless even, but he didn't care. His heart pounded as he tapped the number into his own phone, saving it under a generic name. His fingers hovered over the screen. Do it. Before he could second-guess himself, he sent a single text. Who is this? The response came almost instantly. Hey, babe. I thought we weren't texting today. Miss you, red heart. Liam's breath caught in his throat. The room around him blurred, his pulse thudding in his ears. He stared at the screen, rereading the message, hoping, praying that he had somehow misunderstood. But there was no mistaking it. Max wasn't just lying. He was cheating. Liam's hands trembled as he typed out his reply. Do you know Max has a boyfriend? A pause. Then, wait, what? Liam felt sick. The stranger on the other, and wasn't just some fling who knew the truth. They had no idea, which meant Max had been telling them the same lies he was feeding Liam. His fingers tightened around the phone. Without thinking, he copied the entire conversation and forwarded it to Max. No words, no explanations, just the truth laid bare. Then he set the phone down, exhaled shakily, and waited. The apartment was silent, too silent. Liam sat on the edge of the bed, hands clasped together so tightly his knuckles ached. The message had been sent. The truth was out. Now there was only the waiting. Max's phone buzzed on the nightstand. Once, then again, and again. Liam didn't look at it. He didn't have to. He already knew. The shower shut off. A few seconds later, the bathroom door creaked open, and Max emerged, a towel slung low on his hips, steam curling behind him. He ran a hand through his damp hair, glancing at Liam with a lazy smile, completely unaware that his world was about to shatter. Then he saw his phone, saw the messages lighting up the screen, and everything changed. Max's smile faltered. His gaze flicked to Liam, then back to phone, his entire body tensing. He reached for it slowly, like a man defusing a bomb. Liam's voice was quiet, controlled. Go ahead. Read it. Max hesitated. Then, with a sharp inhale, he unlocked his phone. Silence stretched between them, thick and suffocating. Liam watched as Max's eyes darted across the screen, taking in the messages, the stranger's words, the forwarded text, the proof of his own betrayal. A muscle in Max's jaw twitched. His grip on the phone tightened. Liam, he started, voice low, careful. No. Liam cut him off. His chest felt tight, his breath shallow. No bullshit. No excuses. Just tell me the truth. Max swallowed hard, setting the phone down like it burned him. He ran a hand over his face, exhaling shakily. It's not. He stopped, shook his head. I didn't mean for this to happen. Liam let out a sharp, humorless laugh. Didn't mean for what had happened? The lying? The sneaking around? Or the part where you told someone else you were single? Max flinched. How long? Liam's voice was steady, but his hands were shaking. Max hesitated. Too long. Liam's stomach twisted. How long? Max's gaze dropped to the floor. A few months. The words hit like a punch to the gut. Months. Not a mistake. Not a drunken lapse in judgment. A choice. A series of choices. Liam forced himself to breathe, even as his vision blurred at the edges. Do you love them? Max's head snapped up. What? No, it's not. He dragged a hand through his hair. It wasn't about that. Liam's throat felt tight. Then what was it about? Max opened his mouth, then closed it. No answer. Just guilt. Liam let out a slow, shaky breath. Did you ever love me? Max's eyes were pleading now. Liam, of course I did. Did. The past tense stung. Max stepped closer, reaching out, but Liam pulled back. The movement was small, but it was enough. Max's hand fell away, his face twisting in something dangerously close to regret. I never wanted to hurt you, Max whispered. Liam laughed, but it was hollow. But you did. Silence. Liam stood up, his legs unsteady beneath him. His body felt heavy, like he was carrying the weight of every lie, every whispered promise that now meant nothing. He looked at Max one last time, searching for something, an explanation, an apology, a reason to stay. But all he saw was the truth, and it was too late. Yendi. Liam stood by the window, arms crossed, watching the city move beyond the glass. Cars passed. People laughed on the sidewalk. The world outside kept turning, oblivious to the wreckage inside this apartment. Behind him, Max sat on the bed, his posture rigid, his phone abandoned beside him like a dead thing. He hadn't touched it since Liam had shown him the truth. A thick silence hung between them, stretched so tight it might snap. Liam finally spoke, his voice calm but edged with something sharp. So that's it then? Max looked up, his eyes raw, searching. I don't want to be. Liam turned, arms still folded across his chest. Then tell me why I should stay. Max hesitated, just long enough for the silence to answer for him. Liam exhaled through his nose, nodding to himself. That's what I thought. Max pushed his feet, running both hands through his hair. Liam, please. It didn't mean anything. It was stupid, and I didn't mean anything? Liam's voice cracked, his calm shattering like glass. Don't insult me. Max flinched. Liam took a step forward, his pulse pounding. You didn't just slip up, Max. You made a choice, and then you made it again, and again, and again. He swallowed hard. For months. Max's hands clenched at his sides. I never wanted to hurt you. Liam let out a sharp, bitter laugh. You keep saying that like it changes anything. He shook his head. You did hurt me. You don't get to pretend like your intentions erase that. Max's breath hitched, and for the first time, Liam saw something crack beneath his carefully held mask. Liam should have felt satisfaction in that. He didn't. He just felt tired. Max took a step closer, cautious, like Liam was something fragile. I love you. Liam's heart clenched, but he forced himself to meet Max's gaze. No, you love what we had. You love the comfort, the familiarity. But if you loved me, his voice faltered, but he steadied himself, you wouldn't have done this. Max reached out, fingertips ghosting over Liam's wrist, but Liam pulled away. Max's hand dropped. A painful silence stretched between them. Liam swallowed the lump in his throat, forcing the words out. I deserve better. Max's face twisted, his breathing uneven. Liam! No, Liam's voice was final. I'm done. Max's mouth opened, but no words came. There was nothing left to say. Liam turned, grabbed his coat from the chair, and walked toward the door. He hesitated. Just for a second. Just long enough to see if Max would fight for him. Max didn't move. Liam nodded once, a quiet, devastating acceptance, then stepped outside. The door clicked shut behind him. Outside, the morning air was crisp, the city alive and humming. Liam inhaled deeply, letting the cold sting his lungs, letting it ground him. He kept walking. He didn't look back.